This season in particular, the EPL has coined their own rules. Number one, let's go back to VAR. You know, when we have VAR decisions, we don't see Premier League referees going to the screen to actually check what happens.
Yeah.
They rely on the referee who is behind in the VAR room, and they just basically wait for his own decision.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, they actually have the ability to make some decisions based on what they see. And also communicating with the fourth official and the linesman at the side, whichever the case may be.
Yeah.
And you know what? Also talking about certain rules like the handball, the offside, and now those two goals that Arsenal conceded. Looking at them, what was the reaction of the referee? The referee said that both players, Calvert-Lewin and Richarlison, they got to the ball before they made close contact with the players. Now, as far as we know, when a player's leg is raised so high and the studs are so close to the opponent's face, it's high boots. It's as simple as that. Why those goals were allowed, I don't know. The EPL is special.
Very special. But then let's look at the way Arsenal came back from that one. One goal down, and they eventually won that game by 3-2. Does this mean that the mentality has changed? Is Arteta truly bringing a new flavor to the Arsenal squad? And this name, Saka, has not left the lips of Arsenal fans.
Yes.
He came in yesterday because of an injury on Kolasinac, and he made the difference yesterday.
Yes, we need to talk about Bukayo Saka. He's an exceptional talent. Few minutes into the match, we saw that Kolasinac went off with an injury. You know what? Going into the match, Arteta wanted to rest him because he had played the last 3 to 4 games, you know, wanted to give the boy a rest. But immediately he came on, and he made a difference, gave the assist for Edin Ketia, who read the cross very well and reacted as he was meant to. And he has been consistent, 10 assists in all competitions. He has the highest assist currently
Even more than
in Europe.
Ozil.
Yes, and has the highest assist in the Europa League as well. And also, he's the second youngest player to have the record of most consistent assists. So you know what, he's doing great things, and I really hope that Arsenal can tie him down. His current contract ends at the end of 2021.
Okay.
And hopefully, I know that I've heard rumors that Liverpool are interested in signing the young player, but I just hope that Arsenal can tie him down for the future because he's a good talent.
Looking at Saka, let's talk about his contract now and possibility of him leaving the club. Do you think, or would you advise him to leave after his contract expires? Because the question would be that, what club will he be going to, and what's the guarantee that he'll be starting games for whichever clubs he plays for?
Not at all. I won't advise him to leave. He's good, but he's raw. He's raw talent. He needs time to mature. He needs time to develop. I mean, he's 18 years old, and look at the caliber of players he's with. He has World Cup winners with him, and he has top-class players who have been there for years. So he needs time to grow. He still has 2 senior left-backs ahead of him. He's playing a position which is not his favorite, which happened with the team.
True. And as an Arsenal fan, 5 years, do you think Arsenal will win any trophy? Be honest. Be honest.
You know what? I answer that question at the end of the season.
Oh, okay. All right, so talking about the English Premier League, let's go over to the other games that were played. Chelsea defeated Tottenham Hotspur, and it still compounds more woes on Jose Mourinho, who has eventually come out to say that Tottenham Hotspur are in a bad shape because of the injury worries that they have. Harry Kane is out, Heung-min Son is out, Dele Alli is not giving his best as he started this season. And there were so many controversial calls in that one, but of course, Chelsea got the winner in that encounter. There was a situation where a red card was supposed to be given to Lesotho.
Yes.
Just in front of Jose Mourinho. And when he was asked after the game, they asked him, okay, there was supposed to be a red card on Lesotho,
Yes.
and you were there. What do you think happened? He said he didn't see anything. That's the scene, and that's Jose Mourinho right there. He denied, he said he didn't see anything, but if it was against his team, of course, we know Jose Mourinho, he would have come out.
Of course, typical Jose.
Very true.
And he was basically just trying to protect his player because, Udoka, I don't just know. It was a straight red.
True. I agree with you.
I was so surprised that the referee needed to go and consult with VAR. The linesman was there. The fourth official was there.
And the side monitor was just close to him. Why not just go check?
If you were not sure, because I know the referee had a back view of it. If you were not sure, go to the monitor, check for yourself, look at it from different angles and be sure. You know, and the funny thing was that Lo Celso did something similar to Mason Mount few minutes earlier.
Yeah.
The referee didn't see it. He didn't see the intent there, but it was so obvious when he made that stomp on Azpilicueta. After that, Azpilicueta took down his socks. You could see that his veins already popped up because it was studs to skin. The impact was just there.
True.
And the sad thing about it was that after the matchup, they then released a statement saying that it should have been a red card and it was human error. That is a problem. You then have to, what is the essence of VAR?
The VAR, because the video assistant referee is supposed to assist the referees on the pitch, and of course the side referees as the officials and everything. But of course the video assistant referee is supposed to be a mechanism that watches this game and gives a direct call or a correct call when the referee goes the wrong way. But who controls the VAR? Human beings. But are you saying that 3 human beings or 4 or less would see a situation and 4 of them will agree that this is not a red card? I think we should look into that VAR and see what can be done about it. We've seen this happen in other leagues, and they do not complain as much as we're complaining in the English Premier League, but I just hope that we get things right in that one. Now let's talk about Manchester United. Bruno Fernandes, as he led his team to victory against Watford, and it was a case of players playing against their former clubs. We saw Ighalo come on to play against his former team, and of course Welbeck also came in the second half to play against Manchester United, whom he played for before moving to Arsenal. There was a case of Tom Cleverley, who has returned from injury, and he played against Watford. But of course, United ran away victors in that one, 3-0, and United are in the race for top 5.
Yes, that's what it is right now with the band that Manchester City has. So now Manchester United have a chance to make that top 4. And I was very impressed with the match. Although it started very shaky, you can still see that Manchester United need work with their defense. But I mean, Bruno Fernandes, 2 assists, 1 goal, fantastic performance. He's dictating the pace of the game, the style of game. He's linking up well with his teammates. And I believe that his teammates are getting more accustomed to his style of play. But you know, sometimes I can still see some flashes of brilliance from him that his teammates are not able to link up with.
True.
Sometimes with at the left flank with Daniel James. Sometimes they had issues whereby, you know what, he was thinking something, but they were not on the same wavelength. But I believe with more matches coming in, the players will gel together. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Pogba coming back, and I'd love to see the way Pogba and Fernandes complement each other. I believe going forward in the long run, if Manchester United could get a solid defensive midfielder, you have Fernandes, you have Pogba, you have someone who is sitting and able to protect the back four and also provide support for those two going forward. Yeah. Looking at Matic, he has old legs right now.
True.
Lack of pace, and sometimes he lacks concentration in the game. Looking at Fred, in some tactical situations, Fred is not the type of player that you want on the pitch, and he still needs to improve certain parts of his game. But you know, looking at the team, it's a fantastic team, young prospects.
Team. And we're looking forward to Ighalo starting his first game for Manchester United, because we can't judge his performance so far. But so far, I think he has been decent. But look forward to him starting a game for United. Then we can give an accurate survey. We'll look at his game and analyze how he performed in that one. Later today, Liverpool will be taking on West Ham United, and I think it's a straight victory for Liverpool, because they have their eyes on the prize, and West Ham United, things are not going so well for that club at the moment. Now let's wrap up with the Nigeria Professional Football League. Look at the results that were played, match day 21 results. And for Jigawa Golden Stars, they defeated Wiki Tourist by 2-1. Lubi and Plateau United settled for a goalless draw. Aqua United 1-1 with Warri Wolves. For Rivers United, they defeated Kano Pillars 2-1. I think that's Kano Pillars' second loss, a straight loss in the NPFL. MFM played out a goalless draw with Heartland, and Adamawa United defeated FC Fine Yoruba 2-1. Sunshine Stars played out a goalless draw with Rangers. Katsina United were 1-0 winners over Abia Warriors, and Nasarawa United defeated Enyimba 2-0. Now this is the table. Abia Warriors, Jigawa Golden Stars, Nasarawa United, and Adamawa are in the relegation zone. With the draw Rangers got, they've moved up to 15th, 24 points, and Plateau United are top of the log with 37 points. Rivers United second, 36 points, and Lubi starts 36 points in third position. The NPFL has become super interesting. Enyimba still have about 3 games outstanding, and they're on 30 points. If they win those 3 games, that'll be 9 points. They go straight to 39 points. The NPFL, anything can happen.
definitely anything can happen. But I would say I was disappointed with the Enyimba's loss. I felt like with the last 2 matches that they won, I mean, we've been saying we're looking for consistency for them. And I really don't know. I believe they took their eyes off the ball for a while, and hopefully they can recharge. With their 3 outstanding games, they can do something fantastic. I mean, they can actually win the MPFL.
True.
So I'm looking forward to the coming weeks in the MPFL. It's definitely going to be exciting.
You know, it's very difficult playing against a relegation-threatened team. And Nasarawa United are in the relegation zone. They're 19th on the table with 22 points. So they needed that victory to see if they can actually get out of that relegation zone. They have one outstanding game, and they got one against Enyimba, so it was a good result for them. And they're looking forward to getting more 3 points to see them survive the relegation this season in the Nigeria Professional Football League. Your predictions: Liverpool versus West Ham.
Liverpool straight win, 3-0.
Wow. 3-0 for Liverpool against West Ham United. Well, let's see how that turns out. Destiny is not here to give us her oracle prediction in that one. But that's much you can take this morning on Plus Sports and Plus TV Africa. Hope you enjoyed the package. Thank you, Okpe, for coming.
Always a pleasure being here.
All right, keep it locked down to Plus TV Africa because they give you the best when it comes to TV programming. I'm Ndoka Njoko, wishing you the best of the day.
A lot of the jobs that exist today will not exist in the next 10 years.
10 years.
When I see people today shouting, we're not too young to run, we are ready to run. Ready to run to where?
The people of excellence are, to a certain extent, being held ransom by idiots and bandits.
Once you are in government, you believe everything you do is right. And once you are in opposition, everything the government does is wrong.
And so it's time for us to take over power.
Hey, what's up, guys? You're welcome to another edition of Plus Event, and I remain your host, Ifeoluwa Oshukeye.
Your absence isn't an excuse anymore, as Plus Events is all you need, as we bring you the glitz, the glamour, and loads of fun.
Oh, definitely. Right, no question. He's a living legend.
Oh, God forbid, Holy Ghost fire, I know.
I just want to be blown away. I want to be wild. This is 11 years of doing it.
I'm surrounded by so much positivity. No, it's okay.
Yo, what's up, my people? It's your boy Starboy Terry. You're watching
Plus Event on Plus TV.
Stay glued to Plus TV Africa every Saturday and Sunday, 4:30 p.m. West African time.
Many thanks for joining us on News on the Arm Plus TV Africa. Here are the stories making the headlines, and I am Amaka Ukui. Socioeconomic Rights and Accountability Project SERAP and 192 concerned Nigerians have filed a lawsuit asking the Federal High Court in Abuja to restrain and stop Speaker of the House of Representatives Femi Gbajabiamila and all members of the House from spending an estimated 5.04 billion naira to buy 400 exotic cars from principal officers and members. SERAP is also seeking a court order to restrain and stop the National Assembly Service Commission from releasing any public funds to the House of Representatives to buy 400 Toyota Camry 2020 model cars estimated to cost $35,130 each. Until entail an impact assessment of the spending on access to public services and goods like education, security, health, and clean water is carried out. On 5th February, the House of Reps passed a resolution that 400 Toyota Camry 2020 cars be purchased as official vehicles for 360 members and other persons, including top management staff, chief of staff to the 2 presiding officers, as well as some of their special advisors and assistants. In a statement on Sunday by Kolawole Oluwadare, who is also Deputy Director of SERAP, the plaintiffs also maintained that it is illegal and unconstitutional for members of the House of Representatives to choose to buy expensive and exotic cars while encouraging Nigerians to tighten their belts and to patronize Nigerian brands. And stay with me in the studio is Dixon Osagie to make sense of all of this matter. Really, should we be having this conversation? If the House of, those who look up to are doing what they ask us not to, why are they not going for Made in Nigeria, by the way? Yes.
Why are they not going for Made in Nigeria, right?
Yes.
You see, SERAP are doing a very good job, and until we begin to see politics as service to the nation, we will not get things right, because most of these guys that get into power, and that's why we have a high state of insecurity. Because most of them, what they do is that they just want to get into power, enrich themselves, enrich their families, and hey, I smell the coffee all the time, and they don't care about the survival of the state. They don't care about the survival of this great nation. Now, putting in billions of naira, $35,000 to get a car, a Jeep, or whatever the case may be, is worrisome. We have made in Nigerian vehicles, and you are in the Senate, in the Rep. You are deliberating on our behalf. We sent you guys there to go and boost our economy, to go and ensure we have a social stability, to go and also ensure we have a good space of security. And all of a sudden, you people kept on putting energy, because what they do is that they energetically deliberate on their own self-enrichment, which is criminal. Because one of the reasons why security has deteriorated in this country was because, as at last year, you saw the state in which Nigerians were being induced by these politicians to carry out criminal acts. In Kogi State, you saw a lady that was killed, a woman party leader, or what the case may be, in Bayelsa State, Port Harcourt, all over the state. And when I smelled the happenings then, I knew that Nigeria is moving into a fragile state, because it is now we're in a fragile state. You understand? At any given time, anything that is considered fragile can be broken at any given time.
That's right.
So what really went wrong is that our politicians fail to understand that each time you contributed to the state of insecurity, you are crediting the account of insecurity. Because as time goes on, Nigeria will begin to have security issues. So this development now will make the guys on the street and say, hey, these guys are eating billions of naira. We send them there to go and serve us. They are enriching themselves. And the Nigerian people also want to enrich themselves through criminal acts, terrorism, kidnapping. And that is why I see kidnapping is taking a boom now, because these guys felt that, hey, when I seize a fellow human being like me, I'm going to make millions of naira. And the kidnap market is making a boom. You understand? Because, at the arrest of Evans, the situation was not well managed. The spate of kidnapping then was minimal. You understand? Because people like Evans, we call them high net worth kidnapping, because we have various spades of kidnapping. We have the express kidnappers, we have the high net worth kidnappers. We even have political kidnapping. When you put somebody in detention in a number of time that exceed the legal states, that's a political kidnapping. So now, what is happening in the Federal House of Assembly now and in the Senate now is contributing to the spate of insecurity. You understand? Because the citizens are not happy, and we have a lot of Nigerians who are jobless. We have a lot of people who don't have helpmates. We have a lot of people who are roaming around the streets, because we are not even looking at developing the youth. Because when you look into statistics, we have over 20 to 30 million unemployed youth in Nigeria, and that is what we call psychological murder. When youth suffers from psychological murder, the enemy's offer is a welcome development. That's right. Hey, the state cannot give me what I want. The enemy come and say, hey, and that's what the Boko Haram are using to succeed. Persuasion. You understand? Because until we begin to match their strategies with our own strategies, their tactical applications with our own tactical applications, we will not get things right. So the spate of insecurity will continue to increase if our leaders continue to enrich themselves, because the citizens will say, hey, you don't care about us, then we don't care about the state, because that's where social contract comes to play. In social contract, I'm going to give you lights, the citizens, I'm going to give you employment, I'm going to give you security, and in turns, be a good citizen, support the development of the state, make sure Nigeria is a better place. So the social contract between the government and the citizen has been breached with these developments.
Yeah. Now, having said that, I like the way Sarah put it there, you know, mentioning that this is public funds. Okay. Essentially, it means that you and I, and of course other Nigerians who pay their taxes, we're the ones who are funding all of this. Okay. And then we have Nigerians who are living in very deplorable conditions. Okay. What stops, you know, these leaders from channeling some of these funds? Because if we invest in Made in Nigeria, maybe, just maybe, some of those funds can go into slum areas like Ajegule and all those places and, you know, liberate people who are really in abject poverty.
You see, the budget they're allocating for this, for the purchase of this vehicle, if you go to some country, I think it's part of their national budget. That's criminal. That is unpatriotic. You know, you see, one of the reasons why I love the national anthem is that there's a phrase that says, "The labor of our heroes past shall never be in vain." But in this 21st century, our present leaders are working so hard to ensure that the labor of our heroes past are in vain. Are you with me? And that is very, very unfortunate, because a lot of people put their lives on the line for the survival of the state. A lot of soldiers are dying every day. Police people are dying every day. Our security agencies are dying every day to uphold the territorial integrity of this great nation. And that is why sometimes when we want our security agency to imbibe in what we call territorial integrity, territorial behavior, that is to say holding the territory, not allowing the enemy to take over the territory, you need to also, if these funds are projected, imagine you are serving us under air condition, well taken care of, you are in the house, you are well paid, and you are locating such kind of billions. Now, what about the man that is in the front line? The soldiers that is engaging the enemy, not to get at you in that house. Because the way things are going now is that it's also going to dissipate the morale of these soldiers. You know, the soldiers in the front line, they receive information too. A lot of people are going out of the force now, because as the last time I checked, I saw a lot of young soldiers leaving the force. Like me, I joined the army when I was 19 years old. Are you with me? I served pretty few years, and I say, hey, this system is not a system I am going to continue with, because our current leaders and our previous leaders are ensuring and working so hard that the labor of our heroes past is going to continuously be in vain. So what I will also advise our government is that they should look at leadership as a point of taking care of the citizens, the people, not themselves. Sacrificial leadership, that's what we need in Nigeria. We need sacrificial leadership, influential leadership, you know, because if you, it's not all about you being there or sitting in power. How are you going to influence the people? If you are a leader and your leadership is not influential, you're not a leader, you're just on top by privilege. So our leaders should look into population, look into development, put in most of these funds. If you come to Lagos, there are some areas in Lagos that are underdeveloped. Go to part of the north, the IDP camps, some like what happened in Adama of recent. They should have carried out a damage assessment of that incident. After carrying out a damage assessment, project these funds to develop those states. That is where take, hold, and rebuild. Because when the military take over the territory from the enemy, the police hold the territory, then our National Orientation Agency will come and rebuild. If we don't have a strategic security applications to pursue the state of insecurity, we will not get this right, because we are just following the state of insecurity as it is. So our leaders must remember that a lot of people pay the price for Nigerians to survive today.
Thank you so very much. We'll continue with you again very shortly. Now, House of Representatives Committee on Defense has paid a visit to the theater of Operation Lapia Dole Madugri Cantonment to have a foresight of the challenges facing soldier-fighting insurgents. The House Committee was led by Baba Jimmy Benson, who pledged their full commitment to support the Nigerian Army in the cause of fighting terrorists in the Northeast by providing more equipment and manpower. Baba Jimmy, during the interview, made it known that the insurgent war which Nigeria is facing, it's not emanating only from Nigeria, but external hands are also involved. He revealed dislodged terrorists from Libya play many roles in supporting Boko Haram terrorizing Nigeria and neighboring country. The theater commander, Major General Olusegun Adeniyi, briefed the committee on the operation.
on television and on radio and newspapers all the interest of every segment of Nigeria about this operation. We thank them, we thank all of you for seeing to it that things must move forward. It's a collective duty, and we are proud everybody is behind us. And like I said, I will be giving you a briefing, and by God's grace, I believe this security in Nigeria will soon be a thing of the past by God's grace.
Indeed, Borno has to regain its title, which is the land of peace. So we're going here, we're going to meet the National Assembly again and do things within the shortest possible time to bring back peace to this very peaceful state. Stabilization effect in Libya, that has caused a lot of chaos along this corridor. Borno being a state that is close to our neighboring states has been the epicenter of this insurgency. We've had their challenges, they do have challenges. The armed forces is understaffed. So that's what we're going to ensure that people are immediately recruited and trained so that they can man this geographical space and also properly equipped. So that's what we're going to do. We also need to talk to sister states, sister countries to help assist police this area.
Between March 2019 to date, we have experienced horrific and spontaneous attacks throughout the state. As I told the General Commander, we are experiencing such attacks in a quick geometrical ratio. And therefore, I pleaded to Mr. President as well as the Nigerian military to revisit the strategy that they did during the 2016-2017, that we have almost celebrated the demise of the Boko Haram. Indeed, the community are sharing information to the best of my knowledge.
All right, I still have with me Dixon Osaje in the studio to respond very quickly to that clip. Now, I'm going to ask you two questions in one. First of all, is what the conversation we were having earlier when you talked about the welfare of soldiers. So I needed to talk about how well are we taking care of our men, you know, who are always the forefront. And then secondly, you had that conversation where they mentioned that the war against Boko Haram is not just internally, we're not just faced by the threat of Boko Haram internally, we also have external people who are infiltrating the country in terms of the security issues. What are your thoughts?
Okay, looking at the motivations of our soldiers, the motivation is very, very low. And that is why we need to look into the Shell acronym. You know, in any given war, there's what we call the Shell acronym. There are 4 things involved. We have the software, we have the hardware, we have the environment, then we have the liveware. So this Shell acronym makes a full-blown war or full-blown enemy engagement. Now, the liveware, which is the man, the soldier in the front line, we're not concentrating on that because sometimes our government keeps saying they want to spend in billions, spend in millions on equipment, spending billions on software. That's not the issue. The liveware is going to man the software and the hardware. So we need to put in more money for the liveware because a soldier in the front line now, the maximum allowance he takes in extension of his salary is about 45,000 naira. Bringing it to a day, 1,500 naira in a day. Bringing it to an hour, 342 naira. Now, if the enemy's attack comes now and this soldier have to engage the enemy for 2-3 hours, if he fights for 2 hours, maybe he will be paid 640 naira to engage the enemy. That cannot get him a complete launch. So that is where the spirit of morale lies because they need to start paying these guys very well in the front line. And also the area of motivations. What's your second question again?
Yeah, the second one is the threat of Boko Haram.
The threat of Boko Haram. Yes, Nigeria by default is a country naturally under threat because when you look around the country governing us, they're all Francophone speaking country. Nigeria is the only country sitting within these 5 countries from east,